I'd like to explain the difference between absolute versus relative referencing. I have my sales figures for my 4 employees for the first quarter of the year. I have the quarter totals for each employee, and I'd like to compute the tax that I must pay on the totals. I'm going to start with a tax rate of, say, 5%, and I can just type in 5%. That equates to 0.05, and then over here I will type in tax, and I will compute my first calculation, start my formula with an equal sign, and I will take my first total and multiply it by using the asterisk character. I will multiply that by the tax rate, and I will press enter. I will click on the fill handle and drag all the way down, and I don't get what I expect. Now, relative referencing says that whenever I copy a formula, the cell references in the formula will update relative to where it's being copied to. So when I take this formula and I pull the fill handle down, I'm copying it from this cell to here, to here, to here. And when I look here, the cell references have updated. My E3 is now E4. So first I was multiplying by this to here. Now I'm multiplying this to here, which is not what I want at all. And subsequently all the way down this happens. Down here it changes to E5, which is looking at here, and also here it's multiplying this by bev, and it can't multiply by text values, so you get these value errors out here. So this first guy is working properly, but this guy I want to freeze. That is, I want this guy to stay A1, and this will update, this won't. How do I do that? I can use what's called absolute referencing. Now, by default, when you build your formulas, you're in relative referencing, and that means when you copy the formulas, everything updates, and this makes modifying your spreadsheets much easier. But sometimes we need to employ absolute referencing. And how do I do that? I will come out in my formula, and I will simply put in a $sign in front of the row reference and the column reference. This has nothing to do with currency. What this does is it says whenever you're copying the formula, lock this in place so it won't change to some other cell reference. It will always be A1. And when I press enter, I get the same value, but now when I copy this down, say using the fill handle or copying and pasting, however you want to copy the formula, the A1 won't change. And we see that this is constantly staying on A1, which is exactly what I want. There is a shortcut key for using this when you're editing formulas. I will start my formula again, and I will choose to multiply E3 by A1. Now at this point, if I want to make this cell reference A1 an absolute reference, I can reach up here while I'm in edit mode here. I can reach up and press the F4 key, and it will put the $signs next to the cell reference where I'm currently editing, and it changes it from a relative reference to an absolute reference, and I can tell by the $signs. If I keep pressing my F4, it changes it to what's called a mixed reference, where it's only locking either the row or the column, but not both. And then finally, if I click a 4th time, it just goes back to relative. So this just rotates all the way through. I'm going to go ahead and press enter, and now when I take this guy and fill it down, it works just like it did before.